Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back and in his house, and we are back to Top Boy season 3, and we are now on episode 3 called The Birthday Party. And before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know when I am on and doing videos. So let's break this down, let's talk, let's see what's going on in this episode. So as we come into this episode, we see that Jamie's fraction, as I keep calling them, Jamie's fraction, and Heather fraction at the moment is Si. Basically, they show the ways in which the food travels and how they deliver it and pass it off with each other. So as they've passed it off to the boy on the bike, they're just about to go up the stairs, and just as he's basically gone a few yards, he's literally been accosted by another group, basically, and they're about to steal the food. They then try and get the food back, but it doesn't work. So he does end up boxing someone with a metal pole crossing fierce, and as the police come, they all scarp. With Sully, the plans are being made now to rob the food back, that their shipment I should say, rob it back from the Irish, basically. So they enlisted the help of one of the workers there called Abigail. And if you don't know Abigail, if you've ever watched The Real McCoy or Blazing Skirt, you will know who Abigail is. The last program that she was in that I watched was Ab Fab. She was the person who did the healthcare with the Botox and all this, that and other. So she was in that. So she has got a listing behind her when it comes to acting and stuff like that. And I have to say, she was pretty good in this. She was pretty good in this, acting the scared woman, because they enlisted her help. Well, Sully enlisted her help, basically, to get the cameras switched off, basically to give them the layout of the home itself and where they could go and hide out while this birthday party was going to start. And if the geezer was coming, so they gave her a burner phone, basically, and told her to text them only on the times that they needed her to text them, either to tell them when the cameras are off, to tell them when the people have arrived, X, Y, and Z, in order to get things moving and to get things started so they can get their shit back. Now you see Deshane just literally looking over and giving the evils and this, that and the other, and I'm like, this is where you have to sit back and let Sully do his thing, Deshane. You are no longer involved in that planning business at the end of the day. As you said, was on his own to deal with the shit with the Irish, and that's what he's doing. He's putting his plan together. So all you can do is like at least give Sully his props. And that's the thing, Sully's literally planning his shit and doing it in order to impress Deshane. That's where that's coming from. He wants to impress Deshane and at least have Deshane to tell him that he's done well in something. But Deshane don't give him that shit, because Deshane don't think like that. Deshane really does not think like that. So now also in this episode, because we know from the previous episode that Lauren passed, basically, and this is where you start to see Jack's spiral, because that was her spiraling moment in terms of what happened to her sister and what she then has to do in the journey she then has to take. I think it took a hit to her conscious, and it's the hit to her conscious that she literally cannot take, in the fact that the shit that she's peddling is the shit that killed her sister, basically. And she can't compute that in her mind. She cannot compute that in her mind because it's happened to her now. It's happened to her. It wasn't a problem when she was peddling it to people that she don't know. So if shit happened to them, ain't got nothing to do with her, because it ain't on her doorstep. It isn't impacting her in that sense. And that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in with Jax, because even though that shit wasn't impacting her, karma has a way of coming back around and making sure it impacts you in your life in some way. And that's what it did with Jax with her sister, because now it's hit too close to home for Jax, and now she's having to deal with all the emotions, all the blame and the guilt and everything that's coming from it. So then you see Sully go and speak to Jackson. Basically, Sully just tells it as it is. He don't mince no words. He don't have no one ounce of sympathy or empathy or anything like that. He's just telling her, don't turn out like him, because as I said in the other episode, he had that long-standing relationship with that from Summer House days when that kid was little, all the way to he got to her big man, and Sully looked after him like he was a brother. He was his family at the end of the day, because that boy had nobody else but Sully, and Sully had nobody else but him at that point in time. And it wrecked Sully when he got caught in a crossfire and died in a house fire, that Sully had no way of trying to save him. So basically, when Sully said, I know how you feel, he's experienced that. But with Sully, he's spiraled into nothingness. Basically, he spiraled into nothingness. So it made him literally dead inside, and he didn't want the same thing. He did not want the same thing for Jackie. So when he was talking to Jackie, he was quite open. He was quite open with his shit. He didn't mince no words with her in the slightest. Because even when Jackie was turning around and wanting to know who sold it to his sister, who sold it to Lauren, basically, that you can't blame the person who sold it, because at the end of the day, as I'm saying, Lauren's a big woman. Lauren made her choice. She made the choice to buy it. She made the choice to take it, knowing full well what it may do to her. She didn't think about the consequences of that. So for them to, you want to find out who was selling it to her, so you could do what? Because whatever you did to that person would not make you feel better, and it won't bring Lauren back at the end of the day. So then we see it move to Jeff, and Jeff literally go and find out what the fuck happened to the money. So basically what Lizzie and Life had done is, a week before, this is why I tell you, this woman was already plotting. This woman already had the Shane's money. They already had the Shane's money. All they were waiting for was, I don't even know what they're waiting for, but they knew they had to move that money quickly and get the fuck out, because the Shane was gonna do some shit if he didn't get his money at the end of the day. So Jeff found out that money was already released through the company that Lizzie had worked for and funneled the money through for anyway. So they just released that money to them without even asking who's it going to. Like, they didn't ask for no signatures from Shane. They didn't ask for no signature or paperwork from Jeff in any way, shape or form. They didn't ask for, they just released it to them and done. So basically, this woman saying released it, so there's nothing more I can do. It's gone. Basically, it's gone. So Jeff is fucked, because he knew he then had to go back to Shane and tell Shane what the fuck had happened to the money. And he knew if Shane didn't like what he heard, then his dance was gonna be done right then and there. So he kept on ignoring the calls from Shane. And I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do to Sully and Shane, is ignore their calls. Because from when you ignore their calls, they already know they've got you banged to rights, and they already know that you're motherfucking guilty. You're best off just dealing with that shit head on, no matter what comes your way. So now Shane is pissed, because he's had to fucking chase Jeff all motherfucking day, because this man don't answer the phone. So Shane has pulled up to Jeff's place, and Jeff had no choice but to let this dude in, because Shane weren't going nowhere. Shane wanted his money. He wanted to know what happened to his money, and he wanted to know where the fuck they were. So Jeff has let him in, and Jeff has explained to Shane what's happened, and Shane didn't like that. Now all the anger that was boiling up in Shane came out, and this is where strategically Shane fucked up, like royally fucked up, because he killed this man in anger. So he ended up like touching everything, killing the dude. So he ended up putting his DNA everywhere, and then on top of that, after he's done killed the dude, gets a bottle of bleach, then puts the fucking gloves on. I mean, he opens the cupboard without the gloves first, gets out all the items without the gloves, then puts the marigolds on, pours the bleach everywhere, starts wiping down the place, but then misses integral bits to wipe down. You miss the bloody frying pan that you dumped on the man's dome. You missed the bloody door handle as you walked back out. You missed the bloody buttons on the freaking screen that you pressed in order to buzz yourself in and to open the door. You missed all of that shit. Like, all of that shit. So we kind of knew what was going to come next. And as it goes on, Deshane spiraled even more to the point where when he's gone back home now to sort out his shit, and Shelley's come to him and basically telling him that this woman, it's been a week, this woman's asking for them. This Deshane just lit off on her, like really hella disrespectful, lit off on her like you would not believe. And I'm like, this is what happens when you want this type of life. This is what happens when you want this type of life. You want all the goodness, you want all the trappings, but then this shit happens. When shit happens like this is what you have to be careful of, because these people don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about your feelings. They don't give a shit how they talk to you, because they're the ones that are stuck in the mire and they're frustrated now in terms of what the fuck's just happened. So basically, Deshane is telling Shelley to keep the fuck out of his business at the end of the day. And I'm like, Shelley, you don't want to be in that business. You do not want to be in Deshane's business, because at the end of the day, all that will do is implicate you in the shit that he's just done to Jeff. That this fucker's spiraling. He literally, Deshane has no more control. The control that he had is literally jumping out of his hands, and he's trying to claw it back in so much. And the only way that he can have that bit of control is the way in which he speaks to Shelley, is the way in which how he makes Shelley feel in that moment. At the end of the day, that's the only control that he has. Other than that, the control is gone from him, like completely gone. So basically, it jumps then to Kieran coming to Jack's house and basically telling Jack what was happening. And basically her partner was saying to her that no, she needs to stop, because she needs to realize what she's got at home. And Jax was basically telling her just to be calm, because at the end of the day, this is Jack's life. If you're gonna date someone, as I say, in that life, then you're gonna have to know what exactly is happening within that life. Like, they ain't gonna tell you everything. There's gonna be secrets, there's gonna be shit that they're gonna do that you literally really should not know about, just in case shit hit the fan and, like, you know, feds or someone came in and they would have to talk to you, because then you won't have to feign innocent. You will be innocent in that shit at the end of the day. But then on the flip side, you've got to have confidence in the person that you're with is going to keep you hella protected if they're literally going to keep going down that road. Because at the end of the day, if someone really wants to harm the person but can't get to that person, the next best thing they're going to do is come for your fam. Basically, Kieran was telling Jax about the fact that the food has got robbed, and basically asking Jax, well, what do you want me to do? I can handle it. He doesn't need her to come, but she said she was going to come. So Jax's partner said at the end of the day, so if you didn't need her to be there, then why in the hell did you come and tell her? And basically Kieran was saying, because she's my family and I'm going to tell her everything at the end of the day. So this is how that dynamic goes. But we already know that Jax had no business being told that shit, because she was already het up to 900 with the fact of her sister passing. So basically you got Kieran and Jax did go to the flat, basically, and things did go on there, and literally Jax was looking to fight at the end of the day, and literally told them to forget about retaliation from these people. At the end of the day, they're gonna have to work harder and make the money up. They were already pissed at her for saying that Jamie killed Kit, even though Jamie did kill Kit. So at the end of that conversation, you do see Stefan literally tell Sai that, you know, it was confirmed that it was Sully that killed Jamie at the end of the day, because Sai is one of these people where he said that at the end of the day, someone is gonna dead Sully's dance. So then we get to the setup. So as I said, they're set up in the fact that Deshane and Sully are going to get their food back from the Irish people. So Abigail shuts off the cameras, texts them, shuts off the cameras. They then come in the back and manage to hide out a woman's room that nobody goes into. The only person that really goes into there is Abigail to care for this lady. She's got no family, no nothing that goes in there, which is like a lonely life at the end of the day. Now, the funniest thing that I find quite funny about this bit is the fact that you get these two boys sitting down, literally putting their silencers on their guns, and then you get Deshane putting his one up, pointing it towards Sully, and then you get Sully putting his one up and kind of slightly pointing it towards Deshane. And I'm like, used to a funny, man. I was just sitting there thinking, used to a funny, like, you literally, each one of you are literally trying to get the upper hand over the other one. Like, Deshane really wants to exert that control he used to have over Sully, and Sully is like, nah, I ain't having it. I'm not having it. I'm on a different realm now. You can't control me no more. You let the beast out of the cage, and now that beast is gonna run amok. As I always say, is Deshane and Sully cannot move without each other. Like, seriously cannot move without each other. Like, Sully may have brought in somebody else to try and get the food back, but Deshane was like, nah, I want to be there too. I want to be there too. And as you do, as in the episode, you see them getting ready. You see her switch off the cameras and you see what they do. So basically, we know that Jack has spiraled because after the visit to the home, Jack asks Kieran who sold the sheep to Jax, and Kieran tells her exactly who it was, but then basically then tells Jax, don't do nothing to the boy because he's a youth at the end of the day, which he is. But Jax didn't care because Jax was anger-filled. She was anger-filled, she was guilt-ridden, she had everything pulling down on her conscience because she didn't want to be blamed for the sheep that she peddled on the street, because at the end of the day, Raimundo was one of her boys that she was peddling that stuff to. So she goes and pays a visit to Raimundo's house. Now, Raimundo didn't want to come out because he knew what the fuck was going to happen. He knew that she was going to beat him, because at the end of the day, in the other episode, at the beginning of the other episode, when he started selling to Lauren, he said to her, like, you can't keep asking me to bring you this shit because I will get fucked up for selling to Jack's sister at the end of the day. And I was like, well, it ain't for me, it's for a friend. But he weren't stupid, he knew. Jax barges into the woman's house and starts hitting on Raimundo until he stops, and he was saying basically like, I was doing it for you, this is what you tell me to do. So we know that Raimundo's mom knows exactly what Raimundo's doing when he's out on the road and how he's getting the money in. And this is why I keep saying that Lauren was a big woman. Lauren was the older sister. Jax was the younger sister. At the end of the day, this is the life that you've infiltrated yourself in. So you have to expect some casualties and for it to be slapped back on your doorstep. You can't be ignorant to the fact that, yes, you may be selling to these people, yeah? Yes, you may be selling to these people, but you can't be ignorant to the fact that some shit is going to fly back at you at the end of the day. And this is what Sully, it comes back to what Sully was saying. Lauren made her choice. Lauren made her choice. There's nothing you can do about the choice that Lauren made at the end of the day, because it ain't going to make you feel better and it ain't going to bring her back. Basically, Jack was saying that she just wants peace, but she ain't going to get that on the street. So Jack has to make a decision whether she's either staying in the game or she's coming out of the game. So basically then it jumps back to the home. We already know that Deshane and Sully are already sitting in the room, the uncle and the nephew. So then they end up getting there. So Abigail basically is passing them the glasses for the whiskey. Now, Abigail, this is what I mean. If you're going to do this shit, you need to do it well. Like, you really need to do it well. But then I suppose this is part of the storyline in terms of them figuring out that something is going on, because Abigail was not acting right. She was not acting right. And even when the kid was asking her, are you okay? And she was like, yeah. And then she walks off, and then he was like, yeah, something just ain't right. Something just ain't right here. So he took the initiative to go and find out what the fuck was going on, because by that time, Abigail had texted Sully to let him know that they were there and everything was ready to be a goal. So then they're creeping down the fucking corridor, and as they're creeping down, this old dude comes out of the room and starts asking them questions and saying, how did you get here? Are you my taxi and stuff? So then Johnny, because that's his name, the Irish boy, knows exactly that somebody's there and they're telling him shh, shh. So as now he's come around the corner, he's seen them to shh and shot at them, and now shot at him. Now my thing is how the fuck you shooting up in an old people's home? Like, for real, how you shooting up in an old people's home? Like, seriously? And these people are just collateral damage. So as it's coming to the end of this episode, we see that the uncle gets fucked up in the neck basically and starts to bleed out. You see, and then Sully, I think it's Sully or Deshane, walks up, pops him in the head anyway because he's about to die anyway, so they just pop him in the head, and his dad is like crying. So you're gonna get shot in the arm at first, and then he's sat down and he's looking up, and now he knows exactly who he is, and this is why I say you can't underestimate Sully. Because this man's already planning, but he ain't going to let you know what the fuck he's planning. He is not going to let you know what he's planning, and he ain't going to slip up any way, shape or form. So basically he shoots him in the head, takes the keys, and then they go off and go and get the food that they were going for. This is where this episode ends, because I did talk about already the fact that Stefan tells Si who shot Jamie at the end of the day. So he tells him who shot Jamie. So Si knows who shot Jamie. And this is where I shall end the episode here. But I shall be back with the next one, for the next breakdown, for the next discussion, for the next all things Top Boy. I do love Top Boy. I love it. I really well and truly do. But as I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know when I'm back and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.